I'm a member of a Red Sox nation. It's a kind of a family. Wherever I roam, a Fenway home, that's where I long to be. I'm a member of a Red Sox nation. It's a kind of insanity. Yeah, I live and die with Red Sox pride for eternity. I fake a smile November until opening day. Suffering baseball withdrawal around the clock. When April comes, hey, meet me down on Yawkey Way. That's when Red Sox Nation starts to rock.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 64 of the Avid Boston Podcast, presented by AVIDBOSTON.com. We are finally on the last day of the All-Star break. 4 days without Major League Baseball, or at least Red Sox baseball. So I think most of us are ready to have our life back and some baseball in the background nonetheless. We do not have a Periscope edition tonight, and we probably won't for the next few episodes, so if anybody looked for that, I apologize. And if you're listening to us now, obviously you have found us on either SoundCloud or iTunes or one of the many other formats that the Avid Boston Podcast is available. So with me, as always, my co-host, Dave Kwiatkowski. Are you ready for some baseball?
Oh, I'm definitely ready for baseball to be back. It was a nice little break, but I'm excited to finish up the last half of the season here.
I think they should just do the All-Star break in 1 day. 1 day. Home run derby in the morning, game at night, back in action the next day.
Good luck getting the players to agree to
that. Yeah, right. I wouldn't mind two days. Like that whole thing right there, just like All-Star game, everything together 1 day, and the next day off, and then we're back to 2 days after.
Yeah, I never get my way anyway, so that's fine. Also joining us, as you have heard, you can find him on Twitter at YouBetsBelieve, and we have Tyler from the Winged Octopus podcast for any hockey fans out there. Tyler, good to have you back with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Terry. Now it's known as the Grind Line podcast. We actually changed the name of it, believe it or not.
Wow, I like that name.
All right.
A little fourth line grind in my life.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll get that before the intro next time.
That's all right.
Yeah, we can hopefully discuss it at the end anyway. So we'll just dive right into it. We came off a series against the Blue Jays in which we took 3 out of 4. Rick Porcello just seems to get shelled every time he starts against that team, and was no different this time. But still, we managed 3 out of 4. We have a Detroit Tigers team on deck next. So off to a little bit of a soft start, to resume baseball here.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, they're playing okay. They were playing good 2 weeks ago. The last about 10 games or so, they've been bad, but they can hit at least. So we might run into some issues, if we decide to run a weaker half of our rotation, considering that, we've been using our bullpen a lot recently, and we don't know if we want guys to eat innings at this point. So it should be interesting, but, I mean, we should take 2 out of 3 or sweep it, to be honest, at this point, the way we're playing and who we're playing against.
Yeah, and looks like we have the Orioles right after that. There's no off day, so we're literally right in the grind. But like Austin was saying all month long, just 2 out of 3. And have we only lost 1 game in July? Or 2 at least, actually. But it's
2. I think
it's 2.
2? That's insane. And what's today, the 19th?
19th, so the 20th.
Yeah, so we still got a ways to go, I guess. But that's impressive. What if I told you on July 1st, one of our 2 losses, say, you know what, we're only gonna lose 1 more game before July 20th. That's insane.
I would take that.
Yeah.
I would take it too. And I would believe it.
You would believe it?
I would believe it. Yeah, the American League smells.
Yeah.
Really? I feel like the National League's like that, honestly.
I feel like the whole league smells, except for a few different, 4 or 5 teams.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I just think there's more of those 4 or 5 teams in the American League. I mean, you got Red Sox, Yankees, Cleveland, Houston, Seattle, and the Athletics, probably is like legitimate teams. But over in the National League, I got the Phillies, Braves, Cubs, Brewers, Dodgers, Diamondbacks. I don't think the Rockies are. I don't think San Francisco is. I don't think the Cardinals are.
Actually,
we'll see what happens with the Cardinals now with the new manager, though.
Yeah, that could be really good or really bad for them.
The Rockies, I think, are kind of inching back into it, though. I think they're only.
They are. They've won 5 in a row. They're 2 games out of the division. I just don't see them making the playoffs, or I just don't see it happen.
Yeah, I kind of question their starting rotation, but it's just kind of interesting, because we got 10 days left before the deadline, or 11 actually, and you just don't know. I mean, that's a borderline team. Do they buy or do they sell? So it just depends on which way they go. We'll get over to the Red Sox, who no doubt are going to be buyers at this point. Erod, DL, how long do you think he's going to be out? If he's going to be in a boot for 2 weeks, I mean, realistically, what are we looking at?
Probably 6 to 8 weeks, maybe 5 if he puts that boot on for 2 weeks, gets out of it, and they're like, wow, you're coming along well, take another week off and start throwing. I mean, I don't think he's back in 2 weeks and 2 days.
And there's only, 9 weeks roughly left in the season, maybe 10?
Around that, pretty much. I mean, I think he's out to the end of the season. I think he's going to try and come back a week or 2 before the season ends so he can throw a little bit, kind of see where he's at, whether you're going to throw him in the bullpen or in the rotation. Depends how David Price does these next, 9 weeks. But I think they're going to take it slow with him.
Yeah, and the big consequence here is we may not have the luxury of putting David Price in the bullpen during the postseason, similarly to how he was utilized last year and pitched very well in that role. So with Erod out, I mean, he kind of has to start, doesn't he?
Oh, 100%. I don't see anybody else. I mean, if I was making the rotation tomorrow, if the playoffs start tomorrow, I'd have Sale, Porcello, Price as my 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and that would have to be maybe. Well, also I guess Drew Pomeranz actually seemed to finally figure something out, and I'm not sure if you guys saw it. He pitched 6 innings last night, only gave up 1 run.
Yeah, I saw the first good start finally.
So yeah, and I mean, it's hard to not have trust issues with him because his stuff can be a little finicky. He's got that knuckle curve, and his health is, kind of been shaky at times. But you could easily point out a scenario to where it's basically almost August now, so there isn't a lot of mileage on that arm for this season. So he could go 3 strong months for you into October, depending on what he looks like leading up to the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Drew Pomeranz wants to come back and pitch like he did, this time last year, I would take it all day long. And he's going to get his shot. Now, before Erod went down, I didn't even want to give him his shot, to be honest with you, and I don't think he deserved it. But with Stephen Wright out, with Erod now out, you do need him. You got to give him a look. And can he do it? Yeah, he can, of course. It's just, will he? And this year hasn't looked good. Now he took a lot of time off his arm. Hopefully he looks refreshed like he did last year when he comes back. And, I mean, we'll see. Do you guys really think that he would contend for a spot that much, though? Or do you think he's just going to be, kind of average, the rest of the way through? I think he'd be average when he comes back. I don't think he's going to be throwing 3 ERA or less or anything crazy.
Yeah, I think he'd be average. Same thing.
As weird as this might sound, I mean, there's a lot of time left and a lot of different things that can factor in. I mean, David Price is lined up to play the Sunday night game against New York, and
Oh God!
If he gets shelled again there, and maybe one or two more times before the season's out, I mean, you could have someone get forced into a game 3 or whatever. If
be like Clay Buchholz started a few years ago.
Yeah, and Doug Fister last year. So it's just, I guess it's just too early. Tyler, who do you like internally? I mean, we just kicked around a few names. We didn't mention Stephen Wright, who had a little bit of a setback, but maybe could factor in later on.
Well, without bringing up those names that you guys used already, I like Velasquez. I think he should be given an opportunity. I'm not saying that he should be in the rotation, but he should be given an opportunity because every time he comes out, he seems to deliver. I mean, I know the last time he came out and he had like a pitch count and they took him out, in the 4th inning, but I think he's decent. I like him. I think he's serviceable. I don't know if you put him in a postseason rotation, but I think he's pretty good, and I would give him an opportunity, if not Pomerantz or Stephen Wright.
Well, he's gonna be. I mean, he is our 4th or 5th starter, depending on how you stagger him and Johnson. Actually, let me see how that shakes out. Johnson pitches game 2. I'm assuming Velasquez will be the TBA for Monday against Baltimore. Although
that's my guess.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll do that. I'm sure they'll have a pitch count on him again just in case.
Or that could end up being Porcello, actually. But
I mean, I'm in for it with giving Velasquez a shot at the bottom rotation. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I agree with you. I think it all depends on where they want to go with the trades. If they want to stay under the tax, then I don't think they should trade for anybody. But if they want to go over the tax, I don't think they should go over by $10. They should go over by 10, 20, 30 million and just go for it all at that point. And I talked about maybe not him having the best, last half of the year here with Cole Hamels. But if you're going to go out and get a starting pitcher, just go out and get the best in the market. And he gives us our best chance with that.
But that's DeGrom most likely.
Oh yeah, but we don't have the prospects with DeGrom.
That's my point. Yeah.
Like we could offer them our best prospects and they'd still say no. Like if I'm you want Jason Groom, Chavez, and like Erod for DeGrom, I'd be like, no, I can get something better for that.
No, that doesn't get it done. I mean, when you talk about what the Yankees could be offering for DeGrom, I mean, the Mets would take even the B pool, like saying Gleyber Torres isn't available. The Mets would take the B pool over whatever we can offer them.
Oh yeah, they would take Andahar and Sheffield in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Which would most likely be the centerpiece of that deal, which would be worth it for both teams at that point because, I mean, you have DeGrom under a great contract and control, and then you would give up 2 guys that can really help out the Mets.
Absolutely. Back to your original point, though, I do agree with you. If they're going to go over, might as well go over as much as you can. I mean, now it's not our money, so we're saying that. But I agree with you 100% on that point.
And it especially won't matter if they're all rentals and coming off the books anyway at the end.
Right.
Actually, Hamels could come off the books because you don't have to pick up that option if you don't want to.
Yeah, it's only like $8 to not pick it up or something like that. It's nothing.
Yeah. So I guess he would also fall under that. Is there anyone outside the box that we haven't considered yet that could get dealt? I mean,
there's anybody on the Orioles. Obviously,
you mean like a Verlander type of guy, like someone that has a lot of money left on his contract?
Well, I think that's Hamels, really. I mean, I think he's the closest to that criteria. Dave mentioned Baltimore, so maybe like Cashner, Cobb. He might be on a 1-year deal.
I think they're both on 1-year deals.
Actually, well, Cashner's 2, but it's fairly cheap money, so it wouldn't be of major consequence. And you're losing Pomeranz anyway, so he would just kind of pick up where Pomeranz left off as far as the payroll goes. But
right.
You could have Lance Lynn, I guess.
I'd like him, and that's a good contract.
Right. He's scuffling a little, though.
I think everybody's